Well, that escalated very quickly. And unfortunately, everyone, I think we are in for some very interesting times. And I think things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. Fortunately, I think that's the way it is, and especially with how things are developing and the way it's looking. I am not liking this one bit at all. And I want to talk about this, talk about the various issues, the sides, why some stuff sort of developed the way it is, some of the thinking, my theories on it and stuff like that. And also, very importantly, I want to get you moving to get yourself in a better position to handle any uncertain and bad times heading our way. Who knows? Everything could be, rainbows and roses everywhere, and the world will be a perfect utopia, shortly after January 20th and moving on to February. Just be beautiful. Yeah, but I'm a prepper, so I'm a pessimist. So I'm not really thinking that. Now I'm coming to you from my grid down cold house. And if you're wondering, grid down, Reed? I see lights. Well, yes, let me show you the lights. Up there you can see one of the lights, and you can see the wires dangling out with the switch on the wall. Over there's one of the other lights showing up, lighting everything up with all of its wires dangling out. Looks pretty crazy, doesn't it? Now the lights are nice 12-volt, low voltage lights that light up everything really well, run off the battery. So when I shut everything down at the night with the inverters and stuff, I can still have some lights in some areas and get along just fine. And it's no big issue. Now these ones are temporary wired. Wiring like this, it's not really risk of electrical shock. It's more a risk of you tripping over it and accidentally, shorting something out, and then you blow your fuses. Just how it goes. And if you're wondering what the heck is all this and what's all this about, I have a video series all about this. Got a whole bunch of videos made, working on that, but I'm working on making them very interesting. Putting, a lot of work into the production so people really enjoy it. I want to get something people really like and find very informative and actually sort of entertaining instead of me just yammering on. Stuff like that. So, there's sort of a backdrop story and other stuff like that. But it all revolves around the idea. If total SHTF grid down the event happens right now, when I'm rewiring stuff, redoing plumbing, resetting up all this stuff in my house, could I handle it? Could I handle it if it happened right now when I'm in the middle of doing all this stuff? Yeah, I've got plans to sort of bootstrap, get things moving, all stuff, but they're plans. So it was the thing is, people ask, Reed, can you really do it? Well, I decided, let's put my money where my mouth is. I'm making a whole series on it. And that'll be uploading soon, very soon. I'm hoping to actually get something out by the weekend. We'll see. But the editing has been, but I'm working on it hard. Hopefully as I do more, I'll get a lot faster at it. But anyways, let's get back to the actual topic at hand. And the big concerns we have to deal with here. Now, the actual riot where the people broke into the D.C. House of Representatives, the people's house, busted into it, made a nice mess and scared everyone silly, basically. Yeah, I was actually fully expecting that. I really was. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. But a part of it definitely deals with how much frustration a lot of people have, believing that they're not getting heard, that their concerns are not being taken seriously, and everything revolving around that. With the way things went with the election and everything else, they find themselves feeling like they're the unheard and no one's willing to take their concerns seriously. It didn't help when in 2016, when all the rhetoric was used to say the election was stolen, things were manipulated, things were changed, and all this other stuff. The media platformed and talked about all the issues. They talked about things. They put people up. They had experts on discussing all this stuff. They talked about voting machine manipulations, hacking by Russia, and all this other stuff. So you had all this stuff going on. A special counsel was appointed to actually look into all this, investigate, find the criminal wrongdoers, and prosecute them. We switch over to the election of 2020, and then you've got all these other issues, all these concerns. People are saying, hey, we have this issue about this. We got questions about this. We got things about that. And basically the answer's been, shut up and get with the program. This is happening. This is going this way. There is nothing to look at. Quiet. Well, it's made some people very frustrated, especially when, they're talking all that stuff. They can't even get a special counsel put in place to take a look into this, do a deep investigation, just like what was given in the concerns of 2016 for the people of 2020 that have issues. Nope, you got nothing. Then they're told the court cases and stuff like that. I've got clips from court cases, transcripts I've looked at, and yeah, a lot of stuff was basically shut up and get with the program. We're not even looking at this. Supreme Court basically saying, yeah, you as another state that has a contract with this other state, the contract being the Constitution of the United States, if this other party is altering and doing things not to the specifications of the contract, we are not going to get involved and look at this at all, and you don't have any standing to question it. So you see why I'm saying that in my contract law, because if you had a contract, stuff like that, and you said you were going to do things blah, 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 and you were doing it blah, 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 but the other person wasn't doing it, it's blah, 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 and you went to the court that has the jurisdiction on it, and they said, nope, we ain't looking at this, you're out of luck. You can't even ask about that. What's the contract, right? And that's the point, A lot of people had all these issues. So you see a lot of frustration built up for all these people. The people on that side, the right or the conservatives or whatever, had some major issues, and they're like, ugh. And so it was basically the dam was going to break. It really was. So I was not at all surprised that happened. Now, the other thing, though, is they've been identifying some people in the groups and all that appear to be related to not the conservative group that was there. And actually, that doesn't surprise me. There's a reason why, is because if you look at a lot of the conservatives and a lot of the people on the left as well, right and the left, they're saying, hey, these people don't represent us, they don't listen to us, they don't take our consider seriously. They got a lot in common. Check out a lot of lefty YouTube channels like that. A lot of people on the left have been griping about the old guard in the House of Representatives, Pelosi, Schumer, and all them, how they just won't do anything. It's all this talk and no action and everything else. They got a lot of issues, and a lot of people there are really upset. They want to get things heard, and they're pushing hard. That's why you had that group called the Justice Democrats. And they primaried some Democrats to get them out, and they're going to go harder to get more of the Democrats out. Well, you're seeing the same sort of revival come up on the conservative side, because after the Tea Party kind of pulled back, retired, now people are saying, we really have got to get a bunch of these older people out. I mean, the career politicians that have been there forever that aren't doing anything, they want gone. So the left and the right really got a lot in common on that. They're like, these career politicians are useless. So there's a lot of frustration. You can see it breaking on a lot of other sides. But one of the big issues we saw that developing all this stuff was the unbalanced handling of the descriptions, the tolerance for the people doing the riots and the protests and all that. It's not equally balanced. Depending on what political spectrum you have on that, how it's tolerated and how it's addressed is totally different. One group is sponsored to set up their own autonomous zones and freely allowed to do what they want for a long period of time. Another group goes in and they just cause a ruckus, make papers go everywhere and stuff like that. And, it's now as bad as Pearl Harbor, according to Chuck Schumer. But see, with the way Chuck Schumer phrased that, now this is the part I didn't see coming. I knew they were going to lambast them hard once it happened. I knew they were going to go after him. I didn't think they were going to go after him this hard. That they were going to say, this is a complete attempt at a coup. This was an insurrection and stuff like that. Even though this wasn't a military operation that went in with guns and artillery and, basically, barricaded the whole place, sealed them in, breached areas, and just, executed everyone. Like what happens in third world countries where they do that sort of thing. That didn't happen. But they're using the exact same rhetoric like it did or was attempted and all this other stuff. And it really goes back to a thing I've been thinking about for a long time, is that, in America, we're supposed to have a separation of church and state because they didn't want the theology and stuff like that polluting into the system where it made this priest class, these anointed ones that can never be questioned, can never be asked of anything, and can do anything that they say is the will of God. Right? That was a big thing. The immense amount of corruption like that went on in Europe in those areas was huge. It was a massive problem. The founders took steps to stop that. That was the thing that the founders and all them didn't see coming. That it wasn't a new religion that rose up. It was the state itself becoming the new religion. The new anointed ones, the new priests, the new ones on high and above everyone else. We've seen a huge issue with that develop in America. These that always come from these selected, connected universities, these backgrounds and all this other stuff. These power groups and power bases. The chance of getting regular people in is very hard and stuff. We've seen that. And the other thing is we've seen is these people no longer think of themselves as people, working for the people, that they are chosen better than us and they control and give us everything. That our rights and all that don't come from some grand scheme of, existence, God, creation, anything like that. No, it is given by them. Their ordained will allows us to have what we have. And if they see fit, they shall take it all, which is anathema and completely against everything that the America was built on. It's gone. The country's been shifting a lot, and that is the biggest symptom, I think, of the biggest problem we face, is how much we have a worship of state power. And it's a big problem. So when they went in there, it wasn't them, saying, hey, you got to listen to us. Or, basically just making a mess and screwing around and now getting everyone into serious trouble. It was they dared to question the anointed ones. They dared to touch the priests, those ordained by the greatest power there is to rule over all of us. They dared rise up, and they shall pay with everything. That's what we see coming here. And that was the part I wasn't expecting. I mean, I knew this state is the new religion was a big problem. I didn't realize it was this big of a problem. Because holy cow, is it a big problem. Wow. You're seeing all this rhetoric and all this stuff going on. And unfortunately, I don't think this is just political rhetoric. Okay? There is people I can watch say things and all that. Yeah, it's rhetoric from them. I can see that. But we got a huge pile of zealots and deep true believers here going at this. Big pile of them. It's all over. Watching social media stuff going on like that, I've just been like, wow. Just plain shocked, really. And this is bad. This is really bad. It doesn't matter left or right on this. This is a path to the darkest tyrannies out there. When people start thinking that they're the righteous, those ordained, given purpose to do God's will or something along those lines, you end up with the Third Reich. I know, that sounds, Reed, that's hyperbolic. How could you say something like that? I'm serious. Very serious. When you start seeing people call for cleansings, truth and reconciliation committees, yeah, we're talking Uganda type stuff. Bosnia, Herzegovina coming stuff. I mean, the whole darn mess. Yeah, it's bad. Real bad. Okay, so now that you've heard my rant and why I think we have got a serious, deep problem, what do I think you should do right now? Well, this is the quiet period. I know, you're like, Reed, quiet? What are you talking about? Okay, right now, there ain't neighbors going after each other in the streets, okay? You don't see people being loaded up into cattle cars and other things like that. And hopefully, we will never get there. I'm really hoping that saner minds will prevail and shut this down, okay? But we ain't got that. All we got is giants screaming on social media and giants screaming across every news channel and everything else going on there. Okay, we got all that going on. Take this moment, go top off. I want you to run to the stores and get any needed supplies you need. Get medical stuff, get any prescriptions you have. If you've got tooth problems or whatever, dentist things you've been holding off, see if you can get in right away. You got a time limit before things go absolutely crazy. I don't know how long this quiet's going to last or how long it's going to be before they take drastic, crazy action. I don't know what it is, but take advantage of this period of quiet. You got time to run out to the stores and get all the groceries. If you do 2-week grocery shopping, why don't you make it 4? Get 4 weeks of stuff, stock up. Get a lot of comfort foods, a lot of good snacks and stuff like that. Things go crazy, maybe the power grid's out for a while and all that stuff, and you got kids. Nice, good sweets and snacks, sort of brings some normalcy, some enjoyment, helps, lighten the mood, Get things to occupy time. Get card games, get board games, get other stuff like that. Stuff you don't need to be online if there's communication issues. There's been a lot of communications issues and stuff like that. I also recommend you get maps, really do. I'm a big fan of maps. Everyone likes to use the GPS. I like to look and make my routes from GPS, but a lot of people just follow it. That's why there's that term, death by GPS. I just leery to trust it that far because I program computers. I know how bad the area can be sometimes. So don't blindly trust the stuff. And like when people were trying to get directions in Washington, D.C., the Apple Maps had a major issue with it and everything was down. Link in the description if you want to check it out. And stuff like that. So get maps. Learn to use them, learn to read them, get familiar. So be ready for that. If you go traveling or going to see stuff like that, visit people right now, get a road atlas. I travel with a road atlas myself, so I always have an idea of where things are. And also I like the ones that show stores. It's a big help. So you can say, oh, shoot, I got a tire that's busted up. I need to go get a tire. Happened to me once. Needed to stop at a Walmart right away to get a tire. But yeah, stuff like that goes on. And you got to be prepared. The other thing, get your gas topped off. Go to the store, go to the gas station, get the gas and all the vehicles topped off. If you have any gas containers, go get them filled up or exchanged or whatever. Use the old gas and cycle it out and fill up your gas containers. You don't know if you're suddenly going to have to evacuate. Could be, who knows what kind of reason. It could be something unrelated to everything else going on. But I always recommend having at least half a tank. I'd usually say once you've used a quarter of a tank, fill up. I'm just that kind of anal retentive SOB. Just how I am. We're going to, make certain to do that. For example, in Fort Smith up in Canada, when they had the major fires, a lot of people didn't have gas. There were a lot of people outside their cars literally crying, trying to flag people down for gas. Huge lines at gas stations and stuff. Videos out of that thing was just nuts. You don't want to be caught up in like that. So I'd say do that. Get flashlights, other stuff like that. The other thing is everyone uses their cell phone contacts app for everything. I use it for a lot. Myself too. I do have key numbers memorized. But I highly recommend everyone write down all the numbers. All the key things, addresses, and all that other stuff. Write everything down in a book, pen and paper. That is not going down. Okay. The other thing is go get one of those flippy folders or something else that you can put all your important papers in, okay? Put them all in, and then, so if you have to get and go, you can get going. Now I have nice little fuzzy friends, my little kitty cats. Make certain you've got pet carriers for everyone so you can load them up and get out. So that's my advice. Top off and stay alert. The other thing is don't dig too deep into the stuff going on right now. Just look at the news every now and then, scan the headlines, and move on. Don't focus too hard on it. It's too negative. All right? You don't want to get lost and depressed and all that. We need to stay focused. So just look at the headlines and move on. There's my advice. And everyone, take care of yourselves. Read out.